All right, so we're just going to get into this. So let me get this right. Libby, I don't want to butcher your last name.
Libby Whitenauer.
That's what I thought it was, but you never know.
Yes.
Libby Whitenauer, Eli Broxham, and Owen Burton. I got that all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And all together, you guys make a group called Dallas Ugly.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Hell Fucking Yeah podcast. And we caught up a little bit. Owen and Eli are in Nashville. You're in DC. How's the weather by you guys? Easy first question.
Sunny. It's sunny at last. It has been raining here for the last 4 days straight. So
Same here. I'm on Long Island, New York, and it has been gray and rainy for like a month, and it's so depressing.
Yeah.
But the sun's out today, and I'm feeling good, and I'm glad to hear it's out by you too. Nashville's always sunny.
It's kind of cloudy and rainy today. Surprisingly.
All right. Wow. I stand corrected.
No, I mean, it's typically sunny here.
Yeah. So first things first, Watch Me Learn is available today. It just came out today, April 8th, wherever you stream your music, or you can go to dallasugly.bandcamp.com or dallasugly.com, and you can buy the digital copy or physical copy CD, right? Just CD?
Yes. Yeah.
Any plans for vinyl?
And Libby, go ahead and take this one. You've released something on vinyl recently.
Yeah, I think once, if we generate enough interest, we would do pre-orders on vinyl. But
right.
It's so expensive. It's really crazy how expensive it is to make vinyl.
Yes, and not only is it expensive, it's such a long wait time. I know a lot of artists that I've had on this show. I pre-ordered their vinyl. Some of them back in August of last year, and I still haven't gotten them. So it's crazy that they gotta. It's so much to create them, and it's a lot out of your pocket. But the pre-order thing is great. So I listened to an advanced copy of it. I got a month ago through Lucy, and I started listening to it. Then I've been listening to it the whole month, and I'm listening to it today again, over and over and over and over and over.
Oh,
I love it. It's now. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Not a country fan, right? but I am now, and I get a lot of people from Nashville just from Lucy, and I see this different side of country now, to where I always you listen to things on the radio or things on country music television, and it's this kind of top 20 pop country. Not my thing at all. Still not my thing. But I really love this indie country that's kind of underlying it out there. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping it's going to get a bigger following.
Totally.
Now this album, it has that nostalgic country feel to it, sound definitely, but it's also dreamlike, psychedelic, kind of trance-inducing, and an absolute pleasure to listen to. Music's like the ultimate escapism. So you can literally escape anything when you listen to this album. I wouldn't listen to it at the gym. I don't think you'd get a good workout. No offense. You know what I mean? No. Even today when I'm listening to it while I'm writing out the interview, and I'm I got nowhere with the interview. I was I just want to kick back, relax, listen to the sweet sounds and listen to the stories. Some of my favorite tracks on it is definitely Money and Liberated No Ones. Just fantastic. So that's it. I have no questions. The interview's over because I didn't get to anything.
We really we can use that today,
Yeah.
No, absolutely. There's so much music out there. It's so oversaturated. It's so hard to find all these things. It's so hard to get a following. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's so hard to get a following. But when first of all, how did you guys come together? How did you meet?
Yeah, so we met as freshmen in college in Chicago, at DePaul University. We were all in the same dorm, and often hanging out in the same dorm room because we were in the music program, which, despite the school being fairly large, the music program was super small, so everyone knew everyone.
Right.
Yeah. So we're buds first, and then started playing music together a little bit later.
That's so cool. I love the name. Where did it come from?
Owen, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so the name comes from when we were first starting to like put demos together and kind of get this project off the ground. We had a good batch of music kind of cooking up before we had a band name, and we just really needed one. We ended up putting a date on the calendar to try to give ourselves some kind of deadline, because you can just toss around band names forever and then try something on for a little bit and decide a few days later that that's terrible and cringy, and basically all of them always are.
Like how fucking yeah.
If we could do it all again,
Yeah.
And so we had just put a date on the calendar because we needed to like commit to something, and on that day we still didn't have anything, and I happened to just catch up with a friend of mine back in Chicago, and he was telling me about this first date he had just gone on with a woman who had just moved to Chicago from Dallas. And he was telling me how like in the first few minutes of this date, she says, the thing about Tinder in Dallas is everyone's really hot and everyone on it in Chicago is pretty ugly. And you're all right, so that's why I'm here. And we were just kind of like floored by that, because it's such like a bold thing to say, but it's also hilarious and probably true. And we were like, well, if our friend Adam is Dallas ugly but Chicago okay, we probably are too.
Okay.
And then we were like, oh, Dallas ugly. Right.
So it's like almost a unit of measurement for the attractiveness of a person.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. That's great. And it's such a great name. It just rolls off the tongue. It's just so natural, much like the collaboration of you guys. You know what it is? It's it sounds so great because all of you have like an equal part in it. That's what it feels like, at least when you listen to it. Like it's like three leads almost. So who does what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Libby, do you want to talk about kind of the songwriting and arranging process?
Yeah, sure. I feel like what ends up happening is like one of us will bring a song. So that's like kind of like an equal share of a thing. Like it's not like one person does all the songwriting. Someone will bring a song as just like the core like melody, lyrics, etc. And then like the three of us will kind of weigh in on like, all right, what like chords in this aren't working, or like does the form work? And then we'll kind of go from there. And then we get into like the arrangement process, which usually involves some level of like Owen and I like micromanaging Eli's bass parts, and then me and Eli micromanaging Owen's guitar playing.
and tone, all the way down to the tone.
Yeah.
We're in each other's grills a lot.
Well, it works.
Yes. Yes. And then after that, it's like, I basically just try to, because like the guitar in a lot of these songs is like such a motor that like really having that foundation of like the bass part and Owen's electric part, after that I can just kind of fit in with like little bits and pieces to like ornament it with my fiddle playing. So that's been the general process so far.
Sure. Like when you first started, were like, all right, Libby, I'm gonna be the lead singer and that's it? Was that ever the case, or?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, not really. It's sort of like whoever we experimented with the idea of singing each other's songs. So like if someone would bring a song, being like, okay, maybe a different person can sing it, and it just doesn't work for us. Like I feel like that's part of our sound, is that each song is so personal that like having someone else sing it didn't feel right. So as far as like a lead singer goes, I'd say we're all kind of pulling our own, just because we feel strongly about like singing the songs that we wrote. So like Owen, I think he sings about 50% of the songs on the album, and then Eli and I kind of split the other 50%.
Yes. That's what's so cool about it too. It's it never gets boring. You know what I mean? Like, as I said before, as much as it kind of takes you away, which is obviously a good thing, it breaks it up, like having all the different vocals and everything. It's really good. So I'm going to go through each of you actually and ask you like where you started in your musical journey. So Eli, actually, I'll start with you. Where did you when did the whole thing start for you?
It started really early on because my dad is a rock and roll drummer and played in dad bands my entire life. So, I have memories and VHS videos of my brother and I standing behind my dad while he's performing, for like it's a cover band. So it's like this particular one I'm thinking of was for the construction company that was like revamping Soldier Field where the Bears play. And it was like a party for them. And my brother and I were like dancing behind my dad playing drums with his cover band. So definitely like bands and like rock and roll was kind of something that was very much on the radar from early on. And so I played in bands in middle school and high school and played violin in the orchestra, and kind of at some point started fusing those two ideas between like violin in the school orchestra and electric bass in a rock band into like it pretty much the straight middle of that is like upright bass playing in a non-classical like acoustic or like folk or country setting. And so that's pretty much that.
So I mean, you're like you were born into it. It's in your blood, you know.
At least classic rock is.
Yeah. So who are some of your biggest influences? Any artists out there? Or
I mean, we played a lot of Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Beatles. I feel like I like learned recently that I don't know every single Beatles song, but I thought I did, which maybe gives an impression of how much Beatles I listened to as a kid. Actually, yeah, that Beatles documentary, we were all like geeking out on that recently. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know, that really resonated with our process just because watching how collaborative they were. And we really like found, I feel like everyone is super inspired by the Beatles. So this is like nothing terribly, terribly new, but we're like, it's cool that they're like just friends who are also collaborating and just kind of trying to figure out what works. And that very much felt like what we were up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, without the Beatles, there wouldn't be, I mean, maybe eventually somebody else would have came along, but who knows? That's the crazy thing about it. Like there was that movie about if the Beatles didn't exist, I think it was called Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Where this guy's writing all these songs, but he knows they already exist. So maybe someone else would have came along. I always think about things like that. And as far as that documentary goes, I had a rough time getting through it. Like, not that it was boring. And I mean, it's cool to see them in like their natural state, but I was like, all right, I don't know if I can watch this for like 7 hours. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it.
It hits different if you're actively making an album.
Very true. True. It's like a guidebook almost, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, Owen, how about you? When did you start making music?
Yeah, I don't really come from a musical family or anything, but my older brother started taking guitar lessons just like at the guitar shop around the corner from our house growing up. And I really had no interest in it. And he like kind of forced me to do it because I think he started when he was 12. And right when he started, he was like, man, I wish I didn't start so late, which is a hilarious thing for a 12-year-old to say. And so he like convinced my parents to I don't know about against my will, but I was just like not interested. But I was like, all right, we already have this guitar sitting here. Like,
yeah, why not?
I'll walk around the corner and take some lessons over there.
Yeah.
So I took some lessons at this little guitar shop in my hometown. And that was when I was like 8 or 9 is when I started. I took lessons for probably like a year or something. And then I don't remember why I stopped, but I stopped and I just kept playing just as like something to do. And it's not like I hated it or anything. I kind of looked forward to the lessons, but it wasn't like a love at first sight kind of thing at all. But yeah, I just kind of kept doing it. And then I got a little older, and I never put it down or anything. And I got a bit older and just really started to appreciate it and kind of started developing my own music taste. And that's when it became really exciting for me.
That's really cool. That's an interesting, I never heard that. Like, I just, kind of, went around the corner, took some lessons, very casual, step into music.
I feel like it's not it's like a common path for people who stopped playing. Like, I feel like that's every kid's story with like playing piano for a little bit, is like
Sure.
Their parents just made them do it and like made them practice, and they, held some resentment toward it and then put it down as soon as they got the opportunity.
Yeah.
But for me, like, my parents never made me practice. It was very much like my own thing, especially because the shop was like 2 blocks away. So I would just like walk myself over there, and it was just kind of like my own thing I was doing.
Sure.
Which probably made me like it more on some level. So yeah, and that was playing electric guitar. I was like, I had my like knockoff Strat that I would take over there. And yeah, so I was playing electric guitar when I was like a kid, and played in bands, through high school. And that was kind of my first, like, when I first started getting into like making original music and collaborating with people, was, a few bands I was playing in high school.
Right.
And those were more or less like rock bands or like indie kind of sound, high school stuff. We were playing like some Chili Peppers songs and then writing some stuff that sounded like the Chili Peppers,
Oh, so there was really no country in your background.
No, I mean, this was in Chicago in the, in the late aughts. So like Wilco was a gigantic band, especially in that area then. And that was like my favorite band in high school. And they're like almost country sometimes, so that was kind of the extent of it. Like, it's not like I grew up knowing all the words to any Willie Nelson songs or anything.
Right.
But yeah, Wilco was probably the closest thing. And yeah, so I think that may have been where that like taste came from.
Sure.
And then it really wasn't until college when I started playing with Libby and Eli, and Libby kind of exposed Eli and I to the, roots music kind of world and country and bluegrass and old time, because it was something she started to be interested in.
Right.
And we were already kind of playing together, so it just kind of made sense. We just kind of collectively started exploring that direction.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. So yeah, you would say indie rock would be your biggest influence, at least back then. And then Libby, you came along, and what are like some of your influences that you showed to them?
Well, I going back a little bit, I grew up in East Tennessee, so I was always like around country music and bluegrass music and like traditional music, just like any kind of like roots acoustic stuff. Like, that's just kind of part of like the landscape in that area, like I grew up in the same county that like Dolly Parton's from, so like
Sure.
Dolly Parton was everywhere. Not like actually Dolly Parton, but her music was everywhere. Everyone worshipped her. And when I moved to college in Chicago, I was just really homesick for that sound, and so I like went in a little deeper. Starting out with like the gateway was like this project called Goat Rodeo Sessions that has like Chris D'Elia in it from the Punch Brothers, and like Yo-Yo Ma and a man named Stuart Duncan. That was sort of like the gateway. And then I ended up getting into like more like trad stuff that's like fiddle tunes, like fiddle and banjo music, like really like I don't know, sort of like the roots of a lot of country music. And that was sort of what we started sharing together and learning about together and playing. So I think that's where a lot of like the more country vibes come from, is us like exploring early, before we were Dallas Ugly, like when we were just like teenagers in college, exploring this more like acoustic music tradition and getting into that. And then like years went by, and as we started writing songs, it was like their sort of like indie rock influence combined with my more like country background kind of ends up with what the album sounds like.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I was gonna say we almost like reverse engineered country music.
Yeah.
Like, and instead of like being like huge fans of country music and like trying to write a album in that tradition, we sort of backed our way into it by coming at it from the two sort of sides of it, like rock and roll and then like more acoustic roots stuff. And not to say that we aren't huge fans of country artists and like down the middle country stuff and like, you know, classic and contemporary, but yeah, probably those two aspects of it were our biggest influences.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows. You really hear so many things. And, you know, I researched as much as I could. And I found a lot of articles mentioning like lo-fi hip hop and things like that. Like, yeah, it's all kind of there. It's all this stuff that really shouldn't go together, but goes together and just works. So, you know, bravo. It's really awesome. And like I said before, it's country, but there's a lot more going on. So what other genres would you say inspired your sound besides like indie rock and country? And now, you know, we said the lo-fi hip hop, but like, is there anything else out there that you wanted to put in there?
I would say like, as far as all the different sounds that end up in the music, it wasn't necessarily like an intentional decision to say like, let's get this sound in there and let's like try to get some like the lo-fi hip hop sound in there. It was sort of just like it started with the songs, and as we were recording, like figuring out what the songs needed, and it just like our taste combined with our producer Alex Spiegelman, who he's in a band called Cuddle Magic that makes a lot of like chamber pop, I think is what they call it. Okay. It's sort of like, it's a very cool band, but it's like, it's pop music, but it's like written by like music school nerds, you know what I mean? But it's very good. But so like that sort of naturally ended up in the music. So as far as like other influences go or other sounds that we like wanted to get in there, I'd say like, I don't know, the stuff that we wanted in there ended up in there. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I think that's the best way to answer that is there's nothing that we were like, we really need to get this like influence represented.
Right.
Because that's something that I think when we played together in college, we would kind of operate like that. And it made the music feel like you could tell it wasn't genuine. You could tell
manufactured.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we were just like consciously trying to just be like, well, we might end up with something bizarre, but let's just let the song guide us. And we did end up with something bizarre, but I like it, you know?
Yeah. No. And that's what makes it work so well is that it's so natural. It just sounds so natural. Nothing sounds forced at all. You know, sometimes you hear things and especially like the top 40 stuff and you're just like, all right, you know, that was made. That was just made. Like someone was like, I have an idea for a song and it's going to sell because of this idea. And you know, I can't stand that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate that. You know, I really do. Eli, did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to kind of just like shout out our producer, Alec, who Libby mentioned. I feel like that's specifically like the lo-fi thing. That's like kind of his background. We had extensive conversations about how much he loves T-Pain while we were making the album. Right. But we definitely picked him because we all really loved an album that he produced recently called Is It the Kiss by Anna Eggy. And we just felt like every decision he made was just like super, super musical and tasteful and like eclectic. And right. So that's like a lot of there's a good amount of his fingerprints in the album. And we're psyched about that.
It's it really, like I said before, it really, all these things that you're saying really show in it. And I really hope people get to hear it. So with that being said, any tours planned, any festivals, shows coming up, anything like that, where people can see you live?
Yeah, we're playing. We don't have like a whole run announced at the moment. We're playing a couple shows at the end of this month. One in Knoxville, playing on the Blue Plate Special, and then at Preservation Pub later that night. That's the 26th, I believe, of April. And then the 27th, we're playing at the Basement in Nashville with two amazing songwriters, Maya DeVitri and Joby Riccio, who are also on the bill. And we're super excited for that one.
That's awesome.
But then, yeah, and then we're currently working on a Northeast tour for the summer.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you're ever in New York, please let me know, because
yeah,
I would love to come see you guys. That'd be so cool. Where can everyone find you online? I mean, obviously DallasUgly.com, but your Instagram handle and all that fun stuff.
I do most of the Instagram stuff, so I'll plug that. It's just Dallas Ugly. We are blessed in that mostly our name is not taken on all the social media platforms, except for what is bizarre is there's a kid out there who uses the name Dallas Ugly as like his like gaming name, and so it's like Charlie that's like out there. So you can basically find us on all of the platforms as either Dallas Ugly or Dallas Ugly Band. So yeah,
very cool, very cool. I'm sorry. What did you say?
No, we have a YouTube channel with like a good handful of like live videos up. So if people want to check that out, it's out there.
Absolutely. Very cool. Isn't that funny when you're trying to make a name and you're like, really? Someone has this name? Like, I just make up the most ridiculous shit and it's there. But you guys aren't making a Twitch account, I'm sure, anytime soon. So the gamer kid, don't worry about him. All right, these are some fun questions to end it off. I guess we'll do. Actually, Eli, let me start with you with a question that I wasn't sure I was going to ask or not, but I have to ask it. Did you ever? Did anyone ever tell you look like someone from a TV show?
I feel like I get told that I look like people from time to time, but there's never like one person who it always is. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So I don't know the guy's name, but did you ever see the show The Middle? Not Malcolm in the Middle, The Middle.
No.
Okay.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
You gonna look it up?
Yeah.
Okay. The Middle. It's like Patricia Heaton's in it from Everybody Loves Raymond. The daughter's friend. You are like the doppelganger to the point where I had to look it up and be like, did he change careers? Like, was he an actor and now he's a musician?
I'm gonna find this guy later. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now because I want to get the guy's name.
Owen has a doppelganger. I don't know his name either, but the guy who is the like Scottish policeman in Bridesmaids is Owen's.
Oh my God, Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah.
Chris O'Dowd. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I can totally see that.
I had this weird thing happen where 2 nights ago, out of the blue, James Vanderbeek came up, and my girlfriend, who I've been with for like a year, was like, "Oh my God, that's it! You look just like James Vanderbeek before he had a nose job."
Wow.
Like, that's so weird. How, like,
yeah.
I feel like the doppelganger thing comes up when you just meet people and then you you get to know them and your brain like better processes what they look like or something, and then like you can make the separation easier.
Yes, I used to get
like knows me super well tell me that.
Yeah, that is weird. I used to get Joey Fatone all the time. Not much anymore. When I was younger, I definitely did. But all right, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see this, but the guy's name is Brock Ciarlelli. Obviously, that's not you, Eli. But look at this picture, okay? If you can see it. If you can, I'll send it later. I don't know if it's gonna show. Look at this picture.
No, I can see it.
I mean, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm looking him up now. Definitely. No, I see the resemblance.
Yeah.
For sure.
He really looks like a mashup of Eli and Eli's brother. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, all right. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. How about you, Libby? Do you get any, you get anything like that?
Not that
Doppelgangers?
I know of.
No.
I've heard the one that I like the most that I don't know if I believe, but I'm into it, is the maybe from Arrested Development. I get that sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I can see that.
think she's very cute, so I'm into it.
Yeah. There you go. It works. All right. Eli, pet peeve.
Oh man, pet peeve. Put me on the spot. Dang. Okay, I do have one. And yeah, this is my like pet issue. If I were like a representative or something, I would definitely take this. Too bright headlights.
Oh,
like
yeah.
headlights that blind you at night,
Yes.
and specifically from behind
Yep.
in your like side view mirrors. And my left eye is like kind of fucked up, so I feel like I'm like extra sensitive to it.
Yeah.
But I just, yeah. Also, I drive like a 2006 Pontiac Vibe with like foggy headlights, so I need like all the help I can get. I don't need other people like blinding me with their LEDs. So that's my pet peeve.
I totally agree with that one. I have so many. I have like hundreds. I have new ones every day. I live in New York. So that one in particular, yes. There is something you can do. I don't condone doing this, but you can tilt, you can look in the rearview mirror and you can tilt it right into his eye.
That's
Dangerous,
so
very
good.
dangerous, very dangerous. I don't condone it. But you know what? They're endangering your lives if you ask me.
Well, and also they're expensive headlights and they come in expensive vehicles.
Hmm.
So it's the people who have money become safer, which is nothing new. But the people who can't afford a fancy new vehicle are less safe on the road.
Very true. It's very true. And it never makes sense. The insurance is lower for the older vehicle. I don't get it. All right, Owen, how about you? Pet peeve.
I have a songwriting pet peeve.
Okay.
Which it happens so frequently that maybe I should not say this, but I really hate when songs are self-referential. Like if a song contains the lyric "this song" anywhere in the song, I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I'm like, I feel like we work hard as musicians to like create an atmosphere that suspends disbelief for people.
Yes.
And why would you write into it this thing that breaks the fourth wall?
I was just going to say, it's the equivalent. Yeah, it's the equivalent of breaking the fourth wall in a movie, which sometimes it works, but I don't really like it, you know? So I totally agree with that. It takes you out of the moment. Absolutely. Libby, how about you?
Like you kind of, I'm sorry, I'm still not off this high horse.
Nope, go ahead. Go for it, please.
It's like it reveals the situation in which someone was writing the song. Like it's such a taking backstage on stage thing where like obviously when you're sitting there trying to write lyrics, something that's going to occur to you is that you are currently writing a song. And so to write that into the song is just like such a cop out or something. I don't know.
I agree. Is there any you can think of? Are there any like popular songs that are like that? Because I have heard that before.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Name.
I mean, I'm sure like plenty of country artists who I love do this, probably even in songs that I love.
I feel like it's a Taylor Swift song or something like that. Does that sound right?
Could be. You know, a song that does it well though is what's that song that's like, I've been listening to the radio all night long, and here it is. You know, that's cool because the entire concept is this weird.
It's about that
meta thing where she's been waiting to hear the song that she's currently singing, but it's sung by a guy, but it's in her voice, and like that's very clever. I'm into that. But I don't know, other songs that are like about something else that make a point to say, and by the way, I couldn't think of a lyric here, so it took all of me to write this song is the lyric I'm going to go with.
Yes, and I agree, and I can't stand when there's songs that are like so similar, you know. And unfortunately happens a lot in country music where, you know, the dirt road and stuff like that, and It's like, dude, if I hear that one more time, like you come up with something else. Use a different analogy. We get it. That's enough. It's enough.
And then you listen to bluegrass music and you just want them to be similar. Especially if you're playing the gig and you haven't heard the song before, you're like, please let it be exactly like another song I already know.
Right. All right, Libby, it's your turn.
I will try Google. I think my biggest pet peeve, or not biggest, a pet peeve, I too have many, is when people leave food in the drain of the sink.
Oh,
that's
you're like the third person to say that on this show. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
I feel attacked.
You're right. I know I've lived with both Eli and Owen, so I mean, I'll just say that's a pet peeve. They know.
Yeah, I mean, just the kitchen alone has so many problems. There can be so many problems when living with other people. Like I'm married for 13 years and there's still problems. Like if my wife makes something in the microwave and she doesn't take the time off, like if there's 3 seconds left, like
That's
come on. I'm done with let's move on from this.
All right.
Like drawing
I can fire one back.
Yeah.
When you take like a container of like sour cream or something, it's a plastic container with a plastic lid. When you open it for the first time, there's a plastic film underneath.
Yes.
People who don't remove that film all the way, they just pull it back a little bit, scoop out what they need, put the film back.
Yes. Now, I agree with that. I agree with that one, but only to a certain extent, because I believe that keeps it a little fresher.
It does. It keeps
I feel like
but it does annoy me. It does annoy me.
Yeah, I mean the plastic cap. I don't know. I haven't run any experiments side by side. I would love to see some data on it.
Like, all right, another one too. Like the sour. Let's say a sour cream container. You got the plastic strip around it that you have to rip off before you open it. Take off the whole thing. Don't take off a piece and leave the rest of it on the bottom. Throw the whole thing away. Be a decent person. Oh man. Yeah, so like I said, I have hundreds and hundreds of them. You can probably tell. But yeah, those are all great ones. All great ones. I cannot stand the food in the drain. It's a basket. It catches it, so you can throw it out.
Yeah, I don't want to stick my hand in there. Let's not do that.
One of my biggest public pet peeves is when you go to the movies and people leave their stuff. Like, listen, you drop some popcorn, whatever. That's part of the whole thing. But when they leave the bag and the cup, and that's disgusting. Like, yes, there's people there that are being paid to clean up, but then you can throw out your own stuff. There's garbage pails for you. They're on the way to the car.
Right.
That's just gross. That's just gross.
Feel that.
All right, one more here. An irrational fear that you may have. We'll start with Eli.
Oh, man.
Eli doesn't have any fears.
Some people don't. That's fine.
He's a fearless man.
Yeah.
That's not true. I feel like all of my irrational fears are based around just like things that I have to get done, and like telling myself why I should put them off until the next day or something, because it will impact my non-existent schedule in X and Y ways, and then I end up doing nothing. So
I feel that.
Irrational fear.
I totally feel that. What about you, Owen?
Mine is that I'm going to be put in a situation where I have to write on a board in front of people in real time.
Okay.
Because I'm really bad at spelling.
Right.
And it's just never going to get better because of spell check. And like, I don't think I'm stupid, but like, I feel like my IQ is way beyond my representative spelling ability, to the point where like it would be deeply embarrassing for anyone to see me write freehand in real time. And it comes up a lot where it's like, if you're in a meeting, it's like, can someone go put these notes on the board, and if someone hands me the marker, I'm just handing it to someone else. Like I'm just like, I'm absolutely not writing. No way.
Yep. I feel that one too. I don't know. I always just wrote in big caps, kind of. I never really like I'm old enough to where we actually learned, script and things like that. But who the hell uses script? You know what I mean? Like besides signing your name, that's it. You have your little, I signed the craziest. It looks crazy. It's just like an M and a bunch of scribbles.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel you on that. Like if I'm going to write something, it's going to be all big. Sometimes I have like a lowercase in the middle of all the caps. I don't know. It's a total mess. It's a total mess. So yeah. All right, Libby.
I could write a book of my irrational fears. I want you, Eli and Owen. What is you guys say one of my irrational fears?
Just pick one. Yeah.
If sometimes on more than one occasion, we have been hanging out on a inflatable raft in a very small, in Percy Priest Lake in Nashville, very small lake.
Right.
And Libby has a very hard time relaxing while we're laying in this raft because she worries that we're not going to be seen by someone in a powerboat and get ran over, even though we're in an inflatable bathtub that sits like 4 feet above the water on a perfectly flat, water conditions.
Yep. Yep. You know what? I mean, I kind of have that too a little bit. Like just being in the ocean here. There's a lot. I'm on an island, so literally we're surrounded by water, and no matter where you are, there's boats, and the boats can't go past the buoys, like when you're out at the beach or whatever. But even though I still feel like they're always coming towards me, right? And
exactly.
Like they're gonna just plow into me, and like something's gonna happen to the guy on the boat, and he's gonna lose control. I don't know. It is. I totally agree with that. It's weird. I'm always like, they're like miles away, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. But yeah.
This is why, I lived in New York City for 4 years, and I did really well among everyone there because it's a city of people with a lot of pet peeves and a lot of irrational fears. And I'm just like,
yes.
feel understood, I feel understood.
Yep. It's so true. It's so true. Like I've been here. I lived in, New England for a little while, but I've been here pretty much my whole life. And that is exactly what it is like here. And that's why I ask these questions, because I like to hear what other people think what other people are like around the country. And you come to find out that they're not really all that different.
My another irrational fear that just popped into my head, because I've been flying a lot lately, is like, for some reason, sometimes I will be in a plane and I'm like, we're too high. Like we've gone too high. The pilot is flying us into space and explode and it's over. Like what?
Yeah.
Insane. But I regularly think that when I'm flying, I'm like, we've gone too high. I can tell we're too far from the clouds. What the fuck do I know about elevation?
I'll offer another one. I don't know if this is a fear, but I was invited to by Libby earlier, so I will seize that opportunity. We were printing our we got Libby's friend, who's an amazing artist, to design this beautiful dandelion logo print thing that we use for posters, and we printed on t-shirts, and we were printing it on these shirts that we just like white and gray shirts that we bought from Target.
Yeah.
And we were trying to check the sizes to sort them, or maybe we weren't even checking the sizes. Maybe we were just printing them, and Libby was printing them, and every single shirt she would check the size and be like, are we sure this is a medium? It looks pretty big. Or I don't know, this small looks too small to be a small. And we're like, is our concern that Target has just mislabeled all of their clothes?
I'm neurotic, okay? I am a neurotic human being, and that's just how it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I have OCD to the max. So I totally get where you're coming from. I'd probably do the same thing, hey, it's quality control. You want to make sure you're making, your stuff right, for other people to buy it. Right. I have a merch store that I never even see the stuff, and it drives me fucking crazy because it gets printed on demand. So, I can get samples or whatever, but people buy them and I'm like, oh my God, I hope it looks good. Like, I hope it's not, because it's not cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to rip anybody off. So I think I know where your mindset's going there, you know?
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
So fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, Watch Me Learn is available right now. I already have it downloaded into my Apple Music. I'm kind of a vinyl guy, so I'm going to wait for the vinyl if it ever happens.
Yeah.
I don't have a CD player. I don't even have a CD player in my car. They just don't make them anymore.
Yeah, there's
We definitely designed the album cover with vinyl in mind. Like the text, it like works in the CD, but the text is like pretty small, and we're like, this will look good on vinyl. So hopefully that will be realized one day. Absolutely.
And by the way, I love the cover. I do covers myself, so I do graphic design and stuff like that. And I love that cover. It's so cool. And it really captures the essence of the album. It's so easily digestible and just great to listen to. I really hope it makes it out there. And I have one more question to ask everybody, and that is on a scale from 1 to, and you don't have to curse if you don't, nobody cursed here really. So on a scale from 1 to hell fucking yeah, how much did you enjoy being here today? And obviously you're supposed to say hell fucking yeah, but
we're all like doing the math.
You can say effing.
No, hell fucking yeah. This was great.
Oh,
Thank
awesome.
you so much for like giving us a thorough listen. It makes these so much more fun, and like it just kind of gives us permission to like go a little deeper on like our philosophy and how this album was made, knowing that you know what we're talking about. So no, thank you for having us and giving it a good listen. That makes these so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate you saying that too, because it is like, I'm not, Larry King or anything. I'm not the greatest interviewer in the world. But I like to immerse myself in what I want to put my heart into it. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. And I really appreciate the good music, because it's hard to find out there nowadays. But it is out there. You guys just got to find it. And that's what I try to do here, really, is try to expose things that are kind of hidden, and bring them to light. So
yeah, thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
you
Mike.
so much.
Thank you. It was so nice meeting you guys, and I hope to see you on the road.
All right.
And good luck with the new album.
Thanks.
Mike.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.